All right, so where we left off, we were having a problem getting the journal class into the session. It was given as a problem. Some of the stuff in the journal class wasn't serializable, so instead of putting the whole journal class in the session, I'm just going to put the array list in the of journal entries in the session. So to do that, the changes in the login controller, before we were trying to put the journal in the session. So now what I'm going to do is call the get journal, which returns the journal entries. So as he returns the journal, which is an array list of journal entries from the journal class. So we'll add that getter and a setter for the array list. And I also modified the journal entry controller to create a new journal class and grab the journal entries from the session and set them in the journal class. And then I call the add method from the journal class. And then after I'm done adding the journal entry, I put the journal back, the array list back into the session for next time. So that's sort of up and running. The next little piece will be to allow us to see the journal entries. So we need to do that. We need to have a view. So view journal entries, and we have a JSP view journal entries. So in the login controller, after adding a journal entry, I want to forward to the view journal entries. Auto and view. So head to the view journal entries page, and that view will show us the journal entries and should have one more than it normally has. So inside there will be an array list called the journal. So we'll be able to use that on our journal entries, view journal entries JSP. So let's take a look, view journal entries. Make sure that it's has a chance at showing us what we want it to show us first. And it's loading here kind of slowly. All right, so inside here, we show a message if there was one. Maybe I'll add the message to say that journal entry was added. And then I don't want to see the countries. So in the session scope, I want to see the journal. And inside there, I loop through. Loop counter, so var status loop counter. I don't want to see, so we'll call it get rid of the count. I don't really care about seeing that. So I'm going to see the description. I'm going to show the description, the date, and the weight. I think it's called entry, right? Entry, weight, and date of entry. And country is not that applicable, so I'll just call it this entry. So this entry here, here, and here. And the message. So before I go there, let's set the message. In the model view, so mv.addObject. I'm just going to tell the user that a journal entry was added. Whenever I go to that page, as opposed to if you're going to that page without adding a journal entry, you wouldn't have that message. So after that deploys, I'll give it a try and see if it works. So we're coming to the view journal entries after an add. We don't have the view journal entries button working yet from the menu, but we'll add that afterwards. Just on one thing at a time. Now here it comes. Hopefully it'll work. But if not, well, it'll give us an error and we'll just fix the error and eventually it'll work. And it's chugging along there. Probably doesn't help that we have a lot of things running here, but especially NetBeans and Google. So we're able to log in. I'll click on the add journal entry. Then I'll put the weight, the date, weight, 200, and description. This is the description. And I'll try to add that entry. Wow. So it worked on the first try. This once in a while that happens. Anyway, so I get the message. Journal entry was added. It'd be nice to have that formatted a little bit, but anyway. And I see the 3 fields, right? So if I go back to add another journal entry, I add one for the same day. And workout again after dinner. And I add that entry. Now I have 2 entries in my collection. So I might format that journal entry was added a little bit better. I'll just, nothing fancy, but maybe I'll just have that at least call span equal 3 maybe. And I could add some styles to it and stuff like that, make it look a little better. Maybe I'll just bold it for now. I'll just hit back. Watch out. Remember, refresh will probably submit another one of the same as it did, right? So it duplicated that since I refreshed my page. But I get the messages bolded. And now I have 3 journal entries. So the last little piece for this will be, well, 2 little pieces. Clean up the code. I have a lot of commenting I should add. And also, after I add a journal entry, maybe I will update the file at that time. So instead of not updating the file, so if somebody else starts another version, I would want to have that file uploaded. So if we have 2 people working on the same journal, then it will upload my own. Maybe in the future, I would have the file name have my user ID attached to it or something like that, so that on the server I have my own entry. On my own journal entries as opposed to somebody else. But after we get assignment 3 finished with the database, then it won't be an issue anyway, because we'll be writing and reading from the database, and we could look for our own entries with the database. But for now, maybe I'll just write after I add the journal entry here. I want to write these to the file, right? So my journal class already has that functionality, I think. Journal. Just seeing what entries I already have. I'll go take a look at the class. See what's there. Right to file. Not sure why that wasn't showing up. So it goes through the all the elements in my array list right at the moment. So I'm just going to call that right to file. So the functionality is already written, which is good. If I try to run that, then after if I start running the program again, I should see the ones that we just wrote. If I wanted to make sure I picked up any journal entries that anybody else wrote in the meantime, I would have to, instead of just getting the journal from the session here, I would just have to make sure I loaded the journal before I did a view. So to do that, I could just take the code. So do what I did in the login. I'll make sure I do this. So load entries. And if I do it this way, I sort of eliminate the need to have it in the session at all, because I'll just go to the file right away each time. Does that make sense? So I won't put it in the file. I'm going to get rid of all this. So the login doesn't care about the journal anymore. And in the add journal entry, I'm no longer going to get it from there. I'm going to load entries, make sure I load my entries. And then I'm going to add the new journal entry. And then after I add it, I'm going to write back to the file. So as long as I could possibly have a synchronized method here to do all this. So I wouldn't have to worry about multiple people hitting the file at the same time. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about that for now. It's another issue. And so what I want to do is anytime so I'm going to be getting the latest stuff as soon as I go to view as soon as I go to this view journal entries, it's going to have the latest stuff. And I also want to update the menu controller as well, because I want to make sure whenever I go to view journal entries, so I'm picking view journal entries here, that I want to make sure I go load the latest things. So I'll just take that from here. So I'll just take the journal, load entries. And that will load the entries in the journal, and so that they're available for the JSP to view, I will put them in the session, and the JSP will take them from the session and display them. Another point, I probably don't have to put them in the session. I could just put them with the model view. Add object, journal. Hopefully all these different things are a bit new stuff at the start, but so I can put it in the model view. So I'll put the journal in there, And then in the menu controller, I also, once I load the entries, I will add them to the model view. And the message I'll say will be, I'll just say, here are the entries or something like that. So that should do the trick. I will view journal entries, or if after I add it, I'll also go to the view journal entries. Maybe, how about in the login controller? I might as well go to, oh, I am. I'm also going to view journal entries. I don't know, I clicked a button here. I'm not sure which button I pressed there. Hopefully it'll stop. Anyway, if the video is still going, I'm just going to stop it now, get this killed, and open back up again, and then put the finishing touches in the third part.